Hello, Stephanie McGuire here. I just wanted to share a couple of golden nuggets that I have found, and I wanted to share with our team. I've been thinking about how to bring our team. I know we're diamonds, but I'm thinking about how to bring our team so that there's more diamonds on our team. And as I was thinking, these ideas came to mind, especially after I watched Tyler's little video that I had posted on our webpage. And if you haven't watched it, I highly suggest you do, and then go through this. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with you what I have learned. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And what I have learned is what Tyler suggested. Are you enrolled? And this is the enrollment process. And this is the most important enrollment that you will ever make in your life. And that is the enrollment of you. Are you enrolled in your life? And if you're not, why not? And so I'm going to ask you to do the same things that he asked us to do. He asked us to write down your vision of your ideal life. And then he asked, what are your feelings when you enter your home? So write down, if you were going to walk into your home, what it would feel like. What would your feelings be? And get really detailed. The more detailed you get, the better this becomes. What do your relationships look like? And I actually, when I did this, I actually wrote down my relationship with my husband, Mike, and then I wrote down my family members. I wrote down my mom, my dad. What do those relationships look like? I even wrote down what it would look like with you. And I became very, very detailed to the point where I put, if a stranger entered into my home, that when he left, how would he feel? And I wrote down those feelings of how he would feel. And that really helped in the next segment, because then they ask, what is holding you back from achieving that ideal lifestyle? And what is blocking you? Is it some type of knowledge that you lack, that you are seeking for? Or is it some type of emotion that you need to learn to master so that you can live that ideal lifestyle? And that was quite amazing to me, because as soon as I asked myself what was holding me back, instantaneously I knew. And I wrote it down, and I wanted to share with you what I wrote down. But before we do, before I share with you, the next thing to do, so the first thing is to write down your ideal lifestyle. The second is to find out what's blocking you. And then the third is to answer the question, who do I need to become in order to live that lifestyle? And understanding that once you become that person, that joy will exude in becoming that person. And that was really, I'll be honest with you, that was struggling for me to think, oh my goodness, I have so much to learn and so much to become in order for me to have that lifestyle. And yeah, I want that lifestyle, so I'm willing to sacrifice to get it. So let me share with you what I came up with. The first thing was to ask yourself a question on a scale from 1 to 100. How do I show up? Do I show up 10% of the time? Do I show up 100% of the time? How do I show up? So I'm going to be real and raw with you. And I asked myself, what percentage of the time do I show up? And then I was just quiet, and automatically a number popped into my head. And that number was 50%. Meaning 50% of the time I show up. And that was like, oh my goodness, how can I ask someone to be 100% if I'm only showing up 50%? And so as I started continuing on this process, and you have to remember, I watched this video of Tyler like on Wednesday, and then I watched it like 15 times, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Could you imagine if our whole team decided to live their lifestyle? What would happen? I mean, miracles would take place. You would see us double and tripling each month to the point where we would just all be, yeah, of course, this is normal, if we showed up 100% of the time. Because we would find other people, and we would attract other people that show up, do the same. So after I found out that, oh my goodness, 50% of the time I show up, I went and I looked at my ideal lifestyle and my vision of what I wanted to create. And I looked for patterns of that 50% of when I showed up. And sure enough, the first page, I could see the 50%. And so I wanted to share with you my 50% and then my commitment to figuring out that how to become 100%, how to become that person, and then how to create what's going to happen. So it's at the beginning, it's food and exercise. So those were my two. Either I was completely committed with food and I was completely in control of food and I was completely in control of everything else, especially my emotions, or I was completely the other 50% off. And same with exercise. Either I was completely on or completely off. So I noticed, wow, I am only 50% enrolled in my life. So if I'm only 50% enrolled in my life, what's happening with the other 50%? And that was pretty easy because I was living in fear. The other 50% was living in fear. And so I was just holding back on those emotions to take any action. And that was quite alarming to me. So I thought, well, if I'm only 50% of exercising and 50% of food, then obviously, if this is showing up in my ideal lifestyle, how is it showing up in doTERRA? And you guessed it, I was also 50%. So sometimes I would use a product, sometimes I wouldn't. I showed up 50% of the time when I chose to make it matter. And what I mean by that is I noticed that part of living in fear, the reason why I didn't want to show up 100% of the time is because I was afraid of my greatness. And what I mean by that is I noticed that when I did anything 100% of the time, then I was more susceptible to criticism and judgment. And I noticed my pattern that when I did give it all that I had and it was great, then when someone criticized me, I wasn't able to take that. And so I noticed it was easier to do great things and stand behind everybody, or to do great things and then when someone criticized, to walk away and say, I'm never going to do that again. So I was like, what? Oh my goodness. Because we have been so successful as a team. I mean, we are a diamond, for heaven's sake. Can you imagine what would happen if we put the other 50%, or me, if I put the other 50% in living this ideal lifestyle and using it into my own doTERRA business, what I would be able to create? It's phenomenal. So guess what? I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing this video. So how am I going to be enrolled 100%? Well, the first thing I had to do was write down what was stopping me. I had to know. And what was interesting is the very first thing that I noticed was I was not being consistent with my AM and PM, which was funny because I had been so consistent. And this last month I had not. And so it was recommitting myself back to my AM and PMs. And if you're not familiar with AM and PMs, put it in the chat box. Hey, what are AM and PMs? And I'll post it for you. Then I needed to recognize that in order for me to be committed to me and my body, I had to do that change of I deserve it. And not only do I deserve it, but I am enough. That comes first in my life. And that was really hard for me and still is. I still don't feel like I am worth it or I'm enough. Why should I be able to spend time doing this? And that was crazy. And if you noticed, I just noticed I was wiping some stuff. I'm moving. That is what I just did is when you don't believe in something that you just said, you try to shake it off. And so when I said I deserve to be putting the best fuel in my body and I'm worth it, I deserve it, then all of a sudden I get this itch on my nose. No, you don't. So watch your body language right there. Ah. And I also noticed that it was okay to deserve to spend time on me. I have enough time out of the day to spend on creating my ideal lifestyle. A lot of times what I would hear is, you don't have enough time to eat the good foods. You don't have enough time to exercise because you have to do this and this and this. So I was always allowing something else to come above it because I didn't feel I was enough. I didn't feel I was worth it. And so that was something that I have to switch. As a matter of fact, I had to put that in my declaration that I am enough and that I have enough time to work on me. And when I work on me, then people who are 100% show up in my life. So my pattern of doTERRA, what did I need to do in order to become 100% in doTERRA? First thing is be a product of the product. I needed to make sure that I was using the product and that I was using it consistently. Not just in the morning or not just when I was saying, oh, I'm a little tired. Oh, I got a fever. Oh, I have a headache. That I was using it consistently. And especially on those emotions of not feeling good enough. I know the oils to use. But yet I wasn't doing it for myself. So that was my first thing. The second thing was to share. And when you share, you feel good enough about you being enough. And so showing up 100% of the time and enrolling in me was so that I could then love other people enough to invite them to enroll in themselves. And I have to tell you, this last weekend was amazing because I did it twice, and I had the opportunity twice to enroll in myself and to have that 100% energy of enough, and then to ask others to enroll. And what was amazing is the others that enrolled are bigwigs. They are big time players. They are 100% enrolled in their life. And that was such a testimony to me that I needed to be enrolled 100% in my life, in my ideal life. So this is my abundant ideal life. I am committed to becoming my ideal life. I will eliminate sugar. I will eliminate all sugars from my body. I will follow the signals of my body when I eat. My body tells me what I need. And I will follow it. I will exercise my body and my spirit. I will be 100% on my AM and PM schedules. And I will master the emotion of judgmental and criticism and exchange that energy to love and enough. One thing that I found when I was afraid to walk into my greatness was that fear was I was feared of being judged and being critical. And you notice what I find is interesting when I go back and I had thought, oh, there's been times I've been 100% committed. Really, it wasn't. It was 100% committed to something so that I wouldn't be judged or criticized. Whether it was, oh, we have a party and I want to look fabulous in this dress so that no one can judge me or criticize me. You know, you put on weight, or, oh, look, she looks terrible in that dress, whatever it was. I noticed that the times where I thought I was 100% because I was 100% in control of my food was really not that at all. It was that I was 100% committed to a cause. But then as soon as I was done, I was right back to the same patterns of emotional baggage. So in order for me to overcome this, I have to master the emotion of being judgmental and critical of myself and then of others, and to exchange that energy to love and enough. And it's so easy to do. And if you don't know how to exchange that energy, then write it in the chat box and we'll go through that. So I would love to hear your stories. I think this is so important, and we're all in some way, shape, or form, we're all there where we are thinking, what else? Why am I stuck? And we are stuck because we're not living our ideal lifestyle, and we want to. That's why we're here on this earth, is to live our ideal lifestyles. So I would love for you to share your stories. You can share your stories with a video. You can share your stories on a Facebook page. And then when we do this, we get to celebrate each other's successes. And this will help us so that we can show up 100% of the time. We love you all. And we so have this. And I just want to let you know that we are Diamond. Our team is Diamond. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that make and help me become a better person. And I know my ideal lifestyle, and I will live it. I'll become the person that I need to. There are other things that have come that says this is what you need to do. But these are the things that I felt that I wanted to share with you. So that being said, share. The more energy we put into this about changing ourselves, about exchanging that negative energy to positive energy, about mastering our emotions, you will see our team. And it won't be one diamond. It'll be multiple. For each and every one of you have the potential to be that diamond. So walk into your greatness and recognize that when you walk into yours, you allow others to do the same. So I am walking into my greatness 100%. I'm showing up 100% so that you can walk into yours. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.